There it is. I was frozen for a second.
Frozen.
Good morning, everyone. Kind of frozen like it is outside this morning.
It's chilly.
Super cold. Well, not as cold as it was yesterday, but still cold. A lot of snow. It makes it feel like it's colder. I feel like.
It does. And it's the light, fluffy snow. We'll talk about that in a second. But.
For sure. All right, I'm Scott Engen, Dillon Vogt with me. Before we get to the weather, I got to tell you, you can watch this Facebook Live every morning between 8 and 9 on your Facebook feed. We like to go live on our WDAY TV news page. Also, you can watch it on InForum.com. Just go to InForum.com/podcast. Look for the InForum Minute. You can also find us on the InForum YouTube channel. All right, Dillon, let's talk weather because this morning many of us woke up to a blanket of fresh snow.
Yeah, it's a blanket of snow. It's a light blanket of snow, if you want to call it that, because it's very light and fluffy snow. No doubt about that. Easy to shovel, but also last night when it first started snowing, they were very small flakes. We actually call those type of flakes needles. I couldn't get that word out of my mouth earlier on, but they're called needles, and they're very, very small flakes, and pretty much made of ice crystals.
Okay.
So what happens is when you drive over them, or you step on them on the sidewalk, you compact those needles into the ground, it pretty much forms a layer of ice. And there's some of that in the roadways this morning. It's not everywhere, but there's some spots that are really slippery you're not going to expect. So watch out for that. Snowflakes did get bigger, so that wasn't a thing all night. But there are some scattered slippery spots because of those very, very small snowflakes. Secondly, it's March, and we melt a lot of different snow piles and just snow in general during the day. And of course, it refreezes during the night.
Yep.
And so you have those regular icy patches, but with a fresh layer of snow, you don't know where it all is.
Yeah, it's hidden.
It is hidden, and that's kind of, it's a fun game, not really a fun game.
Not fun at all.
It's not a fun game. So just be careful out there, driving, walking the dog, whatever you do outside in this time of year. March, beautiful March, because there's scattered slippery spots. Easy to shovel. Thankfully, it's not windy today, so we're not worried about a ton of blowing snow. But a little bit of a breeze, you'd be surprised what a little bit of a breeze can do to this puffy snow. It is very light, so.
One thing we noticed this morning, you could see a lot of snow fog.
Yeah.
Talk a little about that and how it impacts driving.
So I just talked about the fluffy snow and how easy it is to blow around. And snow fog is just the snow that is picked up from the car in front of you, the plow in front of you, the semi in front of you when you're driving, and it makes you visibility basically zero. You can't see anything because the snow gets picked up and it's in front of your windshield, and all you can see is a blanket of white. And that's a big problem this morning because this snow is ridiculously fluffy. Like I was just talking, a puff of wind, it's easily blowable. We're not going to have a strong wind today, but of course, just cars moving over the snow, the fresh, fluffy snow, it's going to be a lot of that visibility issue.
Yeah, we looked at the DOT maps this morning, both in Minnesota and North Dakota. A lot of roads snow covered this morning, almost all of them.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of snow, 3 inches in WDAY so far. This morning, it's just about wrapping up though. So,
and then by this evening, how do you think the commute is going to be coming?
hopefully plows get out, things get better. Our high temperature, what's our high today, Lydia? What's our forecast? 28. So that's good. Are we going to see sun? A little bit. No, we're not going to see sun. Well, if you do see, if we see a peak of sun at 28 degrees, you can probably get some good melting going on. But it's just, we'll see. I mean, it's not January. In January, we got that one snowstorm, or December, and it just got cold. And our road sucked for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, that was.
It has gotten much better. Our sun angle is so much more intense this time of year. If we get a little bit of sunshine, it will melt quite a bit of the roads that are sticky or sloppy, just because it's more intense.
Yeah, for sure.
And of course, getting into summer months, spring months here. So we'll see. I'm sure plows will be out, and temperatures at 28 degrees, even just a little bit of sunshine, which we might have, probably not, will help the roads significantly. But we're tracking more snow tomorrow and Friday. It's not like it matters because the next 2 commutes are going to be ugly anyway.
Oh, man.
Yep,
All right.
So
well,
it does not stop.
Before we get to the local headlines, do we want to review our movie from yesterday?
Oh, yeah, we watched Cocaine Bear.
We went to Cocaine Bear here in Fargo. It looked interesting, but you kind of see the movie, you see the trailer, you see the name, you know exactly what to expect.
It's just a bear on cocaine. And the bear is addicted to cocaine. I don't know.
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Think about exactly what you think the movie is.
And I'll think worse.
It's that, but worse. So if you're thinking about going to see it, definitely just go for the popcorn and the snacks, because that was a big necessity to get through the movie.
Yeah, it was a movie.
All right. A ringing endorsement from us on Cocaine Bear. All right, we do have some pretty big headlines to get to this morning, folks. So starting here, a man has been sentenced to 2 years in prison for stabbing another man at a South Fargo gas station. Christopher Kane entered an Alford plea on charges of reckless endangerment and aggravated assault with a dangerous weapon. An Alford plea means that Kane does not officially admit guilt, but acknowledges there is enough evidence to convict him. The incident happened at the ExxonMobil on 13th Avenue South last August in Fargo. The victim stabbed 6 times. Officers say they chased down Kane, and then they found a bloody knife inside of his truck. University of North Dakota leaders have made their case for more money in front of a North Dakota Board of Education committee. UND President Andrew Armacost was there to present the committee with a $45 million request for national security initiatives on their campus. He says the funding would help draw investments from both the public and the private sector and would provide workforce development opportunities for students. The university initially asked for $150 million, which included funds for salary increases as well. A proposed merger of Minnesota-based Fairview Health Systems and then South Dakota-based Sanford Health continues to be a hot topic. Now 2 former Minnesota governors are actually weighing in on the debate. One of the biggest points of contention is what to do with the University of Minnesota Medical Center. That's in Minneapolis. And then other facilities that are tied to that medical school, all of which have been tied to Fairview since 1997, so quite a long time. Ex-governors Mark Dayton and Tim Pawlenty say that the state should do everything in its power to hold on to the University of Minnesota's academic health assets in this potential merger. Dayton is hoping the CEOs of Sanford and Fairview will make good on their pledge to help the university get its assets back. If that doesn't happen, Dayton thinks the merger should be prohibited, saying the University of Minnesota and all of its assets are obligated to be used for the benefit of the state and its citizens. There's a lot more on this story. This is just a brief summary. You could go read the whole thing on InForum.com. A lot of more information, and it's going to be something we're going to continue to follow as it unfolds. Meantime, Minnesota lawmakers are celebrating a new bill that's allowing people who are living in the country illegally to obtain a driver's license. It's called the Driver's Licenses for All bill. It allows anyone in the state to get a non-compliant Class D state driver's license. And supporters of this bill say people will drive regardless if they have a license or not, so they might as well get it legally. And that expanding licensing would allow for more screening of drivers and car insurance. The new law will allow 80,000 people in the state of Minnesota to obtain a license if they choose to do so. Supporters of the bill are saying that it will help ease fears of those in the process of still trying to become a U.S. citizen. And Governor Walz, he signed that bill into effect yesterday, into law. There are also 18 other states that currently have a similar law on the books, so Minnesota not the first to do this. All right, on the national scale, this morning, Mexican authorities say they've made at least 1 arrest after 4 Americans were kidnapped in Mexico. This was a huge story that broke yesterday. 2 of the victims are now back in the U.S. The other 2 were found dead, unfortunately. Officials say Eric Williams is one of the 2 victims who survived this whole ordeal. Williams' wife, Michelle, says that Williams was shot in the legs 3 different times and underwent surgery at a Texas hospital. The good news, he is expected to recover and hopefully walk again. Friday, he was with 3 friends who traveled from South Carolina to Mexico when their vehicle was shot at by armed men who then took them. 2 of the victims did die. Williams and Latavia McGee were found alive in a wooden house Tuesday. Mexican officials believe this may have been a case of mistaken identity. Oh, man. All right. Also, it is International Women's Day, which is pretty cool. So if you are potentially going to celebrate in any way, anyone who is associated with International Women's Day knows it's all about celebrating women, their accomplishments, and all they've done and where they've come from. Obviously with voting rights and all those different things throughout the 60s and the early 1900s and those types of things too. So this is kind of just a celebration of where we are at now as a society. If you do anything related to International Women's Day, like a march or any type of public service, where there is a lecture or a debate or anything like that, you're supposed to take some pictures of that whole thing, post it on social media, and then hashtag it International Women's Day so we can all kind of be in it together and celebrate it. Also, you don't just have to celebrate today. It is National Women's History Month, so we're going to be kind of talking about it all month long. All right, also, Hot Mic is on today from 9 to 11. I'm not actually sure if Dom's going to be hosting today or not. We know he came back overnight from Sioux Falls. He was covering the Summit League tournament there, where the Bison unfortunately lost to Oral Roberts last night in the Summit League championship game. But whoever is hosting Hot Mike is going to be, I'm sure, talking all about the big game last night, in which NDSU, they didn't play very well, unfortunately. But Oral Roberts, of course, is a very good team. They've made noise in the NCAA tournament before. They're expected to probably make some noise again in this March Madness tournament. So I don't think it was a surprise that Oral Roberts won. But anyway, NDSU did have a chance to beat them, and it just kind of fell short, although you can still praise a good season. Don't forget, for 99 cents a month for your first 3 months, you can get an all-access pass to InForum.com. Just go to InForum.com/subscribe to get that deal. Take advantage of it. That's where you can watch things like Hot Mike and get a lot of Bison coverage. You can also get your local headlines, national headlines, and of course, weather reports, which on a day like today are very important. And remember, you can join us for the rest of our newscast today, starting at 11 o'clock. Dillon will have updates on the current weather conditions. We'll be back at 4, 5, 6, 9, and 10. And then first news again tomorrow morning from 5 to 7 in the morning. So join us for that. Until then, have a great day, stay safe, and make sure you get home on those roads that are pretty slick this morning.